Good afternoon, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, please allow me to convey the regrets from the Director General that could not able to join this event, and I would like to represent her in conveying this presentation. Let me share the screen. All right. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. I have 3 points in my presentation. One is the challenges, the facts, and also the expected responses. So on the challenges, we could start from our journey from Paris to Glasgow, when the president in Paris committed to reduce the emission 29% unconditionally, and then 41% conditionally. And then in Glasgow, the President of Republic of Indonesia reiterated our commitment to reduce GHG emission with regard to our policy of updated NDC, and also under the document of long-term strategy climate resilient 2050. In our NDC, this is the target, the details of for energy sector account for 11% for unconditional, and then on the right hand side we can see here the how this 11% account for 314 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent, then distributed into energy efficiency, and then new and renewable energy, and then clean energy, and for reclamation for post mining. And then at the bottom side there are the activities for each subsector. I block here mitigation related to oil and gas industry, in particular in transportation and also in industry. So what we are going to proceed in 2050 towards a net zero emission in 2060 or sooner. In 2050, we have 3 scenarios. Of course, we would like to refer to the ideal scenarios on the right-hand side, low carbon, compatible with Paris Agreement or SCCP. Under these scenarios, we could inline our effort in reducing GHG emission with 1.5 degree Celsius. So with these scenarios, we have to have 1 gigaton carbon dioxide equivalent in 2030, and then will become 540 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent in 2050. The national peaking is in 2030, and then also there are requirement that follow must be netting started in 2030. This is the assumption we use in 2050 for energy sector. The box on the left-hand side is our assumption in our NDC with regard to the current policies under the national energy policy. And then we have some assumption for 2060. My apologies, some in the boxes are in Bahasa Indonesia. And then on the pie chart, this is the energy mix in the power sector. You can see here that the use of coal and also oil and gas is reduced in 2060, and then 2050, and the energy from new and renewable energy has more contribution in 2050. So I would also like to refer to what are current global commitments. We could refer here in G7 Regional Declaration. It is clear that in para 39, where energy efficiency, renewable and other zero emission energy deployment, decarbonized power system, phase out new direct government support for international carbon intensive fossil fuels energy. This is related with the importance role of energy sector in having support to the achievement of net zero emission. And also in the 20 leaders declaration in para 26, 27, and 28. This is also refer to how we move towards the clean energy, and then also phase out of fossil fuel subsidy, and then also how we could reduce the consumption of coal. And again, the last one in the last box is what we could committed in Glasgow. So this is the details of decision COP26. On the red sentences, I highlighted what are the most relevant para to energy sector. The most important thing is on para 20, where the parties agreed to accelerate the development, deployment, and the dissemination of technology and the adoption of policy toward a low emission energy system. So this is also in line with the Glasgow climate package, in particular in para 36, with similar content, and also in para 37 for non-carbon dioxide emission, including methane. This is very relevant with oil and gas industry. So as we also aware that Indonesia also part of the global methane pledge. This is just to summarize what are the specific issues on energy in Glasgow. Some points have been included in our updated NDC and long-term strategy 2050, and then some action also have been included in the statement of the President of the Republic Indonesia in climate summit, leader summit on climate, and then in major economies forum, and then in World Leader Summit in Glasgow. So these three important events where the president always reiterate our commitment. And then on the facts, this is the facts that we have not yet included the fugitive emission for oil and gas in our baseline of NDC, and also not yet included mitigation action for this fugitive. Even though the Director General has presented some effort that have been conducted, but it has not yet calculated and included in our NDC. So it is our next plan to include this effort in our second NDC. For this graph, depicting the projection in energy supply, energy use, and GHG emission for these particular years. And then this picture also show you some information, my apology, on Inbahasa Indonesia on the projection of emission, GHG emission from each different sources of GHG. And then also the comparison of the projection and intensity of the GHG emission scenarios. This is primary energy supply and energy consumption and GHG emission in 2019. This is referred to our national GHG inventory, and then verified GHG emission reduction in 2019. So we can see here that the coal and also oil and gas still dominating as a source of energy, as an energy supply, and also in final energy and in particular in energy energy mix in electricity generation. So this is some projection we have prepared, also included in our document LTS LCCR 2050 with regard to projection of energy supply and demand. So what is our expectation for oil and gas industry? In our document of long-term strategy toward a net zero emission 2060, we highlighted the importance of implementation of energy efficiency measures, in particular in household, in commercial, and also in buildings, and also in industry and transportation. And we also noted that the use of decarbonized electricity in transport and buildings are very important, and also fuel switching in power sector. We noted that it is very important to increase the portion of renewable energy, and also as we could refer to the global commitment. So we have a projection to increase the use of renewable energy in power and transport and industry. As previously mentioned, this document also highlighted the importance of CCS, CCUS in a transition period for using coal as in the power plant to have a cleaner and less GHG emission, as we now progressing currently in Indonesia in using CCUS. So this is in our scenario, the use of CCUS is after 2030. But with current development, we could more confidence that we have we could increase our GHG emission target by having earlier implementation of CCUS. So if you are talking about the target of 1 MBP OBPD and 12 CFD, but how we can make it in line with GHG emission in energy sector. Of course, in 2019, energy supply, we have not yet, as I presented before that, we have not yet included oil and gas refinery and fugitive emission in our GHG inventory and mitigation due to lack of data availability. So we have included this mitigation into plan of improvement for NDC of our second NDC. And toward 2030, with regard to to achieve this target, so we have to design this target with implementation of zero flaring and venting, CCS and CCUS, and tree planting, and also energy efficiency in drilling, processing, and transportation. So we have included this in our RTS, and also to enhance ambition and GHG emission reduction. These also include current commitment in global methane pledge, including in oil and gas industry. The current development of Presidential Regulation number 98 2021 on carbon pricing has an important role in supporting oil and gas industry to increase their effort in GHG emission reduction by having this opportunity for incentive mechanism. So in the near future, oil industry could also contribute to carbon dioxide emission reduction when the industry began to implement CCUS to enhance oil recovery or improve gas recovery. That's all. Thank you very much.